human intellect is firing like never before. More people can think for themselves than ever before in the history of humanity. This is what you're suffering right now. Because you can think for yourself. There is no scripture to follow because you never read that or it doesn't make sense to you. There was a time your scripture would think for you, your priest would think for you, your pandit would think for you, your guru would think for you. Now a time has come, everybody start thinking for themselves, at least a large segment of the population. Once you start thinking for yourself, one problem that you will confront is whatever comes to you has to be logically correct, otherwise you cannot swallow it. If you are made to swallow it, you cannot digest it. This is the reality of human intellect. This time is coming. We have come to a place now where even if what you consider as God appears here, even a divine entity appears here, if he says something and it doesn't make sense to you, you will reject it. If you don't have the courage, your children will reject it. The future generations on this planet will reject anything and everything that is not logically correct. So when this happens, heavens will collapse. Heavens collapsing is a big disaster, isn't it? Heavens will collapse. Anyway, shall we explore the heaven a little bit? What's there in heaven? In the Hindu heaven, food is very good. Really. Nala himself will cook for you, best food. So if you're a foodie, that's a place to go. In another heaven, there are white-gowned ladies without legs who float in the clouds. If you like that kind of ambience, you can go there. In another place, you'll encounter virgin problems. If that's what you're seeking, you can go there. But how to get there? This happened in Alabama. A Sunday school teacher was going on full force. The audience were not like you, they were all tiny tots. In full rhetoric, he asked, "What do you have to do to go to heaven?" Little Mary stood up and said, "If I scrub the church floor every Sunday morning, I will go to heaven, absolutely." Another little girl stood up there and said, "If I share 50% of my pocket money with my less privileged friend, I will go to heaven, correct." Another little boy said, "If I help somebody in need, I will go to heaven, correct." Little Tommy in the back bench stood up and said, "You gotta die first." So that is the qualification. If you want to go to heaven, you got to die first. If you die, depending upon the culture in which you are, we will either bury you, burn you, throw you to the birds, something. One thing is, we'll put the body back into the earth. It's a very eco-friendly thing to do. Because this body is just a piece of the planet, you must at least have the sense to put it back, not go away with it. So you left your body here and went to heaven, whichever three you chose. You don't have a body. What will you do with good food and virgins, I'm asking? I'm saying, everything that's not logically correct is going to collapse in the next 25 years' time, watch it. When this collapses, for a long time, we have managed human aspiration, because you must understand, human aspiration is not for this or that. Whatever you give, it aspires for one more thing. Essentially, you are trying to go towards a boundless aspiration in a way. Hello?
In a constipated way, boundless aspiration in a constipated way.
If it happens in a very physical way, you want to expand. If you try this in a very physical way, this is called sexuality. If you try it in an emotional way, we call it a love affair. What you're trying to do is what is not you, you're trying to make it a part of yourself. You're trying to expand your area of experience. By including another person as a part of yourself, your area of experience in the planet is enlarged. If it finds a mental expression, it gets labeled as greed, ambition, conquest or simply shopping. If it finds a conscious expression, we call this yoga. Yoga means union, that means that you have successfully obliterated the boundaries of your individuality. That if you sit here, you can experience everything around you as yourself. This is what you're trying in sexuality, in ambition, in shopping, in love. What you're trying to do is somehow to get out of this cage of yourself. You want to obliterate the boundaries of your individuality and touch something more. Do you want to do it in crude, unqualified ways, or do you want to approach it in a scientific manner? Or in other words, a time has come where, as we are addressing everything in the world in a scientific, logically correct way, scientifically verifiable ways, it's time we do human well-being also the same way. When it comes to human well-being, people have all kinds of fanciful belief systems, ideologies, outdated scriptures and all kinds of things. It is time humanity addresses this in a scientific way. If you don't do this, believe me, I hope I go wrong. All of you should strive to see that I go wrong. If we don't do anything right in the next 15-20 years, in next 50 to 60 years' time, you will see 90% of the humanity will be using chemicals for experiences. Already, the percentage of people using alcohol and other chemicals for experience, you must understand, whether you go to the temple or to the bar or wherever, all you are seeking is a higher level of experience, isn't it? Yes or no? The question is only, does it work for you or not? Does it damage you or does it enhance you? This is all the question is. The drunkard and the drug addict and the devotee and the meditator, everybody is seeking the same thing, to break the limitations and touch something else. The question is, will you do it in a way it works for you and everybody, or will you do it in a way it is damaging and destructive to humanity? If 90% of humanity goes on chemicals, today they are saying 70% of the American population is on prescription medication. To be healthful, you need chemicals. To be peaceful, you need chemicals. To be joyful, you need chemicals. If you want to feel little love, you need to pop something. Otherwise it doesn't happen. If you don't drink a glass of wine, you don't fall in love, all right? So without chemicals, you cannot create any experience. If this happens, what will happen is, there are two responsibilities we have as a generation of people. One thing is to leave the world in which we live a little better than the way we got it. That's one responsibility, in that we are going to fail anyway. Another responsibility is that the next generation that we produce is a little better than us, at least one step, one notch better than who we are. This is a responsibility that we will fail in if 90% of humanity goes on chemicals. If you want to turn this around, in the next 10 to 15 years, we have to make a movement in the world which is logically correct, scientifically verifiable, where human experience can be taken to peaks within themselves, so that the need to depend on something else will go away. It is from that context that otherwise I wouldn't have written ever a little instructional kind of book, but I came to this Yogi's Guide to Joy with that thing, because when I saw in United States, the universities that I'm visiting, the way children are early morning, unbelievable. It's a sad story. It's a seriously sad story, and our universities and our youth are not far behind. They will catch up. They'll catch up. This catching up is this is not a moral issue, we must understand. This is not a moral issue. This is an existential thing. For a long time we nourished people saying, don't worry, however bad life is, when you go to heaven, it'll all be okay. Now the damn heaven is collapsing, where do I go? So this is where we are. Make this happen in your life and everybody's life. Thank you very much.